Good evening and welcome to the February 7th, 2012 Waterboro Board of Selectmen's meeting. If you would kindly rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you and welcome all this evening. Anybody have any announcements? Nothing to announce? Good, we'll move right on to hearing of delegation. Is there anyone who has any business before the board this evening that they'd like to discuss? Okay, I know that we have with us the animal control officer. Wade, how you doing?
Not too bad. How are you today?
Not bad.
I was told to come in. You had some questions.
Yeah, one of the things that we've heard back during discussions was that you're having difficulty prosecuting anyone for any of the dog violations that are occurring. You said you're not getting cooperation from the district attorney's office
For the licensing?
for anything that you do.
No, I mean typically on a normal, regular, summons, there's no problem. The problem with that we ran into last year was with the amount of summonses that would be written for the unlicensed dogs. It would be way too much for them to handle, is what I was told by the district attorney's office. And it's way down as far as compared to last year overall. But
What's way down? The number of unlicensed dogs?
the number of unlicensed dogs is way down this year as compared to last year. But I spoke with the head of the animal welfare, and his suggestion would be, instead of licensing a large number, is to do 10, 15, or whatever, 20 at a time, and schedule that for one time. Then the following month, do 10, 15, 20 more until the entire list was done. And we're down now to 125 dogs. And talking with the vet, she said that most of them are, the phone numbers are no good, and sending out the letters, they've been returned. So we don't even know if these people actually live in town or...
I know that the town clerk has been working.
Yeah, she's been working very hard on that.
I want to, if there's an issue with the district attorney's office saying that they're not going to prosecute the cases, then the Board of Selectmen needs to know that, because we can address that. Because I know other municipalities, I happen to work for a municipality, and we issue a very large number of unlicensed dog summonses, and the district attorney's office prosecutes them without a problem. So if it's one particular office that seems to have the issue, then we can move up a level and talk directly to the district attorney rather than the assistant district attorney, to make sure that our cases are going to get through.
Seen, but I think what we'll do is we'll start off with what they suggested, 25 at a time. Start at the top of the list and, find out if actually they live in town, and I'm not sure how to go about finding, unless we go door to door. That's an option.
I think Chauncey used to send, wasn't there a registered letter that went out?
I don't know if she's been sending them registered, but everything that she sends comes back.
She said that she sent out 1,000 letters. And pretty good response, and most people have called back and said, that my dog had died or what have you. And but I just got another copy of the list, and then we can start on that list, and I'll go to their house if they're not there, or if they don't live there anymore. If they do and the dog's unlicensed, then they'll get a summons.
What are you required when you pick a dog up? I mean, what does the law say you have to do with that dog?
Normally, I'll take a dog and I will be honest, lately, within the last year or so, if I get a dog and I don't get a call within an hour, that dog's in Kennebunk at the shelter. I can't, you know, there's been times where I've had 2 or 3 dogs in kennels on my porch, walking them and everything else, and I just, basically now I get them, they go right to the shelter in Kennebunk.
And what's the procedure there? Who pays what? What's the cost for taking them to Kennebunk?
The cost for taking them to Kennebunk?
Well, and having them down there.
I don't know what the shelter charges for an impound fee. Our basic, our contract with them is $7,154 per year.
And that's inclusive? In other words, we could take 1 or 500?
1 or 500,
Okay, so we're spending $7,000 a year to take care of animals.
yeah. But we are required by law, we have to have an animal shelter, a licensed animal shelter that we can take our animals to. We are required by law, so.
And how often are you taking an animal to Kennebunk? What's your rate per week or whatever?
This year, going over last year, I took 40 animals down. Now, that could be cats, dogs.
40 trips to Kennebunk?
40 trips to Kennebunk.
Yep.
And I do have, a copy of the animal welfare warrants.
Thank you, appreciate it.
So we know how many are licensed now and how many we're chasing.
Did you get a new report tonight on how many we have licensed?
Oh, there's-
Yeah, I
What's
did.
this?
I don't know exactly how many there are
Let's
licensed.
see, read it.
Oh, okay. Yep.
We were attempting to back into a number the other night when we were doing some budget work, and
I don't know the exact number of licensed dogs. She's got a box out there, filled right to the top. Probably somewhere around 1,000.
She's gonna get a vet.
so what do we get, like 25 cents a dog or what? 'Cause
It's
it-
$1 a dog for anything that's capable of producing young.
Okay.
Basically what we get. And, which isn't a lot. But,
So we could take in $1,000 and we spend $7.
Well, we're spending 20.
20,000 overall,
Yeah.
but 7,000 for shelter, it's $175 an animal.
on a dog incapable of producing young, the fee is $6. The town animal welfare account gets $2. The animal welfare program, which is the state, gets $3, and the clerk recording fee is $1 out of those 6.
So we get 4? Is that right?
No, it's 3.
That's right,
Sounds like 3 and 3.
It's 3 and 3, compared to the state.
But the state does so much
On
work.
one that's capable of producing young, the town animal welfare account, which we get 0. The animal welfare program, which is the state, they get $10, and $1 goes to the town clerk recording fee.
See what you get for the state money.
But I did call the head of the animal welfare today and spoke with him, and, as far as, and asked him about the shelter and everything else, and he said that it is, and I did, I looked it up and highlighted it. He said, unfortunately, it is a state law that a town has to have a animal control officer and has to have a shelter, a licensed shelter, in order to which to bring your animals.
I don't know if I have as much issue with that as I do the state taking
Oh, no,
such
yeah.
a large chunk and leaving us with the burden of,
Again.
doing all the work.
A state law that mandates that we have something, and yet they're gonna take the majority of the money.
I mean,
Makes sense.
a vet has it down to 125 dogs now, go door to door at 125 different residences. I mean, it takes a lot of time.
Yvette walked in, so.
I'd like to make a suggestion on that. I did send out over 1,000 letters. and made
Excuse
over-
me, if you would come up, please, so that we're recording this and for people at
I
home.
did send out over 1,000 letters, made over 400 phone calls, and really tried to beat this list down. I would suggest, maybe with permission, we'd send out certified letters, and then what we get in, we get in. Then we send him. And we're down to 125 dogs. I think that's huge from what we had last year.
Yeah, and we're gonna spend $1,000 to chase down 125 dogs in postage.
I know, it's fruitless.
But
How
we are
many-
mandated by the state to put out, to collect for these, so.
Okay, so we've sent out the letters, we've made phone calls. I think that covers our obligation.
The list that he has, that I just gave him, of the 125 dogs, 90% of those phone numbers on that list are no good. So,
How many dogs do we have licensed?
what was the number?
I don't have that list.
I have total money. Number of dogs, I didn't get that.
What's the total amount that we brought in this year then?
$4,330.
Which doesn't-
What part is ours? Is it 4,000?
No, that's the total.
30.
$32.50.
all right.
Dog for every two people.
How often do
so
we negotiate the
4,000.
contract with the shelter? Or do we? Is that a flat fee for everyone, or is it?
Yearly.
and
I
who-
think it's a per capita.
It's per capita.
Oh, it's per capita?
Okay.
And there's,
According to
and
the
there's,
census.
and I don't think there's a lot of room for negotiation, because there aren't any of them around that are in that business anymore. They've all fallen by the wayside.
Kennybunk or Westbrook, I think is,
Kennybunk and Westbrook.
Yep.
And they're pretty much the same as far as,
But
pricing, I would
the
say.
state allows them to fix prices. Oh,
One thing that I would suggest is what we should do is amend our dog ordinance and up our impound fee. Our impound fee is only $25, and it should be at least, I would say, 35 or even more.
Is this for any, to reclaim any dog that's been brought down?
Yeah, if I...
Costs us $175 to have down there.
If I pick a dog up and a couple hours later, somebody calls me and they want to meet me, I will meet them, and they give me the $25 impound fee, and they can have their dog.
And you, and whether you, if you have the dog,
If I have the dog...
if they send it to Kenny. if
When
you
the
bring it
dog,
to
when the dog
Kennebunk.
goes to Kennybunk, they'll call me and say that my dog's missing, and I say it's in Kennybunk, then they come see the clerk's office,
Yep.
and
Pay the 25.
they pay the 25, and
And our dog ordinances needs to be updated anyway, because the numbers are, the amount on them isn't right.
Do they have to pay the shelter or anything when they go to Kennebunk?
yeah, that's a separate fee. I have no idea what the shelter charges for a fee, but, that's a separate
Okay.
fee altogether.
And you're suggesting that go up from 25 to,
I would say at least 35 or even higher. That's something we would need to discuss.
So
And
the shelter gets the $175 plus a fee for the owner to get the dog.
No, the $25 impound fee comes back before they release the dog. They come, and then the clerk's office gives them a receipt, impound fee form, they take that down, and then they release the dog to them.
I think what he's saying, is you figured the 175 based on the number of dogs that we brought in?
yeah.
So the shelter's getting a fee that's paid by the town for having the shelter, plus they're getting a fee from the person whose dog, so they're almost like double dipping.
well, you
No
figure
worry, but-
they've got to have an income to run the business.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Period. And then the impound fee is, now they've got personnel that have to be on staff, that has to do the paperwork to release the dog, they have to feed the dog while it's there, et cetera, so.
Well, the townspeople have to live too. And we're paying for these suckers to run around and cause problems.
How many, I guess what I would 40 animals in a year's period in a town of 8,000, if that's all that Wade is having to bring to the shelter, that's not too bad.
No,
I mean, it's not,
Yeah. That doesn't include the dogs that I've picked up and that I've had, and then, they've paid the
okay.
impound fee. That's just what I've taken to the
to the
shelter.
shelter. Do you see a lot of, like, repeat offenders?
On occasion. The amount of repeat offenders is way down. When I took over 4 years ago, the first year, there was a lot of repeat offenders. That's dropped way down drastically. I mean, on occasion, I'll get a dog maybe twice. Then after that, I I haven't really picked any up more than that.
Yeah.
But the shelter also, if a animal does get, hit in the road, I pick that up, and that goes, I also take that down, and then they have the incinerator, and that's put into a group cremation. And, I can bring anything down there, guinea pigs, right up to dogs.
If, kind of going back to the repeat offender thing, if we're gonna be looking at redoing the ordinance, maybe something to have in there is...
Oh, absolutely.
Here's your first time fee.
Yeah.
Second time, maybe it doubles or something
Double,
to
yeah.
entice
Oh,
them to
absolutely,
make sure that...
Absolutely.
You bet. There's 1,650, unless something's changed dramatically since last week's report, with $1,654 in fines, is that all the impound fees?
Impound fees? Yes, because I haven't had any more in the last
Right,
couple
so
of
that's
weeks.
$66, or 66 events, if you will.
Yeah,
And half of them you took to the shelter,
yeah.
based on the numbers. We've taken in $653 the town has for licenses. So out of the $4,000, we've captured 653 of it here. Okay.
The clerk gets $1 for every dog that comes in.
Yep.
The state gets 3, he gets 2. On an unneutered or unaltered dog, the state gets 10, and we get 1. I get 1. He
So
gets
the,
nothing.
so the 2 that goes to the ACO, do we see that anywhere, paperwork-wise?
That goes into the town account, the ACO
Okay.
account.
So that would be
And I don't have
ACO
the
fees?
numbers.
ACO fees?
Yeah,
Well, his, that's only $96.
it's getting more than 96. I've got more than 90 for dogs, isn't it?
So we got them in the
What did you
right
get in?
spots, yeah?
Maybe we're missing something.
Oh, yours is,
dogs?
yeah, yours is detailed.
Yeah.
So we need to check that, Nancy, to make sure that we're accounting for that right. Because you're right, that goes back into
Yeah.
help defer the cost.
Yeah.
But right now, it shows $96,
Should be more than that.
which would give us a grand total of $749 for licenses and fees.
You can see, the numbers.
I'm just curious, and maybe, too bad Representative Libby wasn't here tonight, maybe we could ask him that question.
Well,
What does the state do for us, or do for animal control by capturing these fees?
There's been several issues that have come up over the year here that I wish Mr. Libby was here. His predecessor was here all the time.
Oh, we'll see him at election time.
And, it's a lot easier to work with someone who you can communicate with and interact with than it is when they're a phantom.
Well, I'm just, I guess, as you play out these numbers, what does the state contribute to animal control statewide with the funds that they are capturing?
They run
They
the
run
animal,
the sun-
they
they run
run
the
the
sun.
animal welfare
Wow.
department. As far as the people out in the field for the animal abuse and everything else, and that they run their courses, which there is a fee for. But there are quite a few incidents where they will call me for like an animal abuse case, and that by law, because I technically work for the state of Maine, even though I'm paid by the municipality, I work for the state of Maine, so there's quite a few calls that I go on throughout the year for animal abuse and everything else, and, they do send people out on occasion.
But you don't get a check from the state of Maine?
No. No.
Typically, you work for them for nothing.
Well, I just pulled it up here. The Maine animal welfare budget is $1.3 million.
How much have we captured you've issued some summonses, is that correct, from what I understand?
It's too early for someone.
Too early for summonses.
Well, okay, let's say last year you issued some, right?
Yes.
Okay, how much did we capture in fines from
I
last year?
I don't know. I don't know. That would be through the court system. I don't know what we captured for fines.
Okay.
Is that in the, do you have last year's? Is it-
Yeah, last year was no bigger than what we're talking about right now, so it wasn't significant if there was some.
I just know that in the past, towns that go after the dogs and get them, clean up and get it all cleaned up, they don't have the issues year after year after year, because they know that the town isn't gonna let 200 unlicensed dogs run around. They make it a point to be fidgeted. And once it's all caught up, and once it's all cleaned up, some of the dogs I licensed this year have not been licensed in 3 years. So, they haven't licensed them in 3 years, and I got them in here this year. Great, they'll be here next year too.
I know part of that's a safety issue too, because it controls, those, for rabies. And
For
we're
rabies.
experiencing right
Yep.
now an increase in the number of reported rabies in York and Cumberland County and parts of New Hampshire.
We had 4 cases of rabies in wildlife this year in the town of Waterboro.
$3,700 in fines last year.
Are they raccoons or?
Yeah,
Or foxes.
raccoons and fox mostly.
Yeah, in fact, there was an article in the paper the other day about 2 rabid foxes down in Hollis, just by the river there.
Yeah.
One of the few articles that Bill Nemitz writes that I actually read.
There's a total of 253 dogs licensed right now for 2012.
Excuse me?
There's 253 dogs licensed for 2012.
And a municipality of 8,000.
I mean, I would dare say, unless, I pick the dog up and it's not licensed, I would dare say how many dogs in the town that aren't licensed or never have been licensed, unless I pick them up, there's really no way of knowing unless I, or someone calls and says, so-and-so has 3 dogs that aren't licensed. I don't, there's no way of really knowing.
Well, if somebody goes and gets their rabies shots,
Yep,
then that gets reported to
That gets
the
reported back.
municipality.
yep.
Right. And last year when I came, and the rabies weren't data-based, so I could run a sheet that said who's licensed and who has rabies, that wasn't done. And there were other things that were tad more important when I got
Yeah.
started here. But as they come in now, I do get them in, so that I know that I've got 15 more dogs that I need to be seeing. But one, either I've already seen them, they're updates, or whatever. But yeah, that's a real helpful tool, but again, have to have time to do this.
Yep.
Any member of the board have any other questions or comments?
Well, I guess we need to review that ordinance and update it and continue pursuing the
I mean,
licensing.
Increasing the fee and on a second offense, make it considerably amount higher. That, I know the other town that I work for, our impound fee is only $5 more, but I think the second offense thing would work out well.
And just updating our ordinances so the figures are right. It's 11 and 6, not 7 and 4.
Well, I think other things where we've done there's a fee structure that's set, we just say, instead of writing it into the ordinance, we leave the fee amount out and
Put it in an appendix or something.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because you can change an appendix, but not change in the ordinance. Nobody has anything further. I appreciate you taking the time to come in tonight. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else that has any business that they'd like to bring before the board? Okay, seeing none, we'll move on in the agenda. We did receive some correspondence this week, Representative Libby's newsletter, information from Healthy Maine Partners on the Churn York County Blue Program to raise awareness about colon cancer. Time Warner routine cable notice regarding programming and broadcaster agreements. The Treasurer's weekly financial reports. Confidential memos from the town administrator, and confidential documents from the town attorney regarding a lawsuit and a consent order. You're welcome to look at any of those with the exception of the confidential items. The correspondence, like I say, with the exception of the confidential items, can be found on the website. If you don't have computer capabilities, you're certainly welcome to come down to the town offices and see either the administrative assistant to the town administrator or the town administrator, and we'll see that those documents are provided for you. I'll move on to reports. Selectmen. Is there any selectman that has anything to report at this time? Okay, seeing none, we'll move on to town administrator.
And of course, we've been working hard on the budgets, and this time of year also too, there's a lot of surveys that Maine Municipal will ask for. One of the bills for the legislature, I don't know if you noticed it in the legislative bulletin that came out concerning the circuit breaker. Apparently what they got proposed is they want the towns to provide a list. And if there's a lien on the property, the check will be made out to the owner and the town, and they have to come here to the town. And the town has to sign the check and apply it to their taxes. But town does not have to participate, and they have a survey going around and wanted to know if the town, this is optional, and wanted to know if the town would like to include this as a program to participate. So I want to run that by the board to see if we want to do that.
Is there any indication in there on what additional administrative impact that would have?
No, we'd have to run a report. They want, as of August 1st, what approximate percentage of primary residential properties receiving a homestead property tax exemption in your municipality have one or more tax liens.
It seems like it's an opportunity for us to potentially collect some funds.
And they must have a caveat in here someplace that if it's more, then the check must go back to, the difference must go back to the property owner.
So it's a,
So right now, if somebody puts in for it, the check is cut to them and they don't.
but I would guess Jerry could provide that information fairly readily, right? I mean, we know who's got a homestead exemption, and we know where the liens are. That ought to be able to be matched up pretty quickly. And it would just, if I recall, it was just a hearing on this?
Right now.
They haven't moved with anything, right?
No, has a strong ought to pass from the
Yeah.
taxation.
So there's a direct benefit to the homeowner and the municipality?
Seems like the benefit would be more to the municipality than the homeowner,
The
because
homeowner already got it,
they
right?
already got it. Now they're saying, hey, before you can cash this, you gotta go to the municipality.
Yeah.
And if they don't come to the municipality because our name is on the check, then they can't cash it.
But what I'm saying, is the benefit to them is that they either reduce or eradicate the lien on their property, right?
Well, depending on how much it is. it
Depending on
help
how
them
much
pay
it is, so
for
there is a benefit to the homeowner. Okay.
So You interested in participating? You want me
Well,
to send in the...
what Gordon said is not the way I understood, what I understood that when I read it, but then again, it was, the homestead exemption is off from their taxable
Property.
value.
Mhm.
So they're not getting money, they're getting a reduction in taxes.
They
Right.
get, yes, according to what their income is, the
Right.
taxes are a certain percent, they get that back.
Then they would get that back, right? So that's the, okay.
Right now, it goes
So
directly
it's
to
it's
them.
direct, there's another piece of it which is income related, which we don't have a knowledge of.
Now, they want to tag the town onto it, so they have to come here if there's a lien on it, and that has to be applied to the lien, whereas right now,
Okay.
it's just in the property owner's name.
So it's applied to the lien and
Yep,
not their current tax
It goes,
commitment.
yeah,
So they'd still be saddled with that.
Or whatever their back taxes would be. I mean, you gotta clear up the back taxes before you can clear
How
up
do you-
the
yeah,
lien, so.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what good does that do, other than you still have to clear the tax burden before the lien is cleared?
Mm-hmm.
So the money doesn't really, I guess it helps with the tax burden, right?
Hey, it would be money that we probably otherwise might not see.
But this isn't available till August anyway, right? So you said this wouldn't be available till August? They're still,
yeah, I don't know when they're going to, oh, they want a report that would be as of August 1st. So I'd have to give them an estimate,
oh, as of August 1st,
Yeah.
2011?
12.
12. So it hasn't even come yet. We got plenty of time to look at this. We don't have to make a decision.
Yeah, but
today.
they want to, they would like to know if we want to participate, because they would like to know on August 1st of any year, so we can go back as of August 1st of last year to see how many liens they were.
Yeah, it's, they're gonna recraft the language and,
Mhm.
right? Whenever an article says that, it's like,
But at this point, it's just a survey as to which municipalities would likely participate.
And they want to know, yeah, and they want to know how much time it would take also.
Well, we don't know that. That's a mystic figure. That must. that's
Well,
part
no,
of
we would know, because it's just a matter of Jerry having to, I mean, we know what properties we have liens on. So it's just a matter of Jerry going in and running a report. Now, for
Right.
some communities, that might be far easier than it is for other communities. So if what they're looking for is, if this program is in place, are we interested in participating? And if we are interested in participating, what would be the man-hours on our end that would be involved in producing that list?
I think that we also need to incorporate the man-hours that it's gonna take for the accounting purposes,
Right.
for our treasurer and
and one of the
our
issues
tax
is,
collector and so forth.
they would have to obtain the municipality's endorsement to cash the check.
I think that's something for discussion at a later time. So I don't think we're gonna be able to answer.
When do they have to have the answer by, Nancy?
They had a date here. Oh, February 10th. It's Friday.
But it's a survey, so it's not a commitment that
No,
we
it's just a
participate.
survey.
It's just a survey saying, would you be interested in this?
Yeah, knowing a little more about it, we may be interested.
Well,
As long as there's no commitment.
No, there's no commitment.
from what I read in the bulletin, it sounds like it could be beneficial to the community. So myself, speaking for myself, I'd be in favor of it.
Chair will entertain a motion to indicate our interest on the survey.
So moved.
I would second it, even though it's non-binding, I think, but anyway.
Yeah,
All
it's a
right.
survey.
Motion's been made and seconded to just express an interest on the survey with no commitment. See what it's like. Is there any discussion on that? Seeing there's no discussion, all those in favor? Opposed? Motion's carried.
That's all I had.
That's all you have? Thank you very much. The fire department. Chief?
Before Matt gets started, is Sean on duty that he might have to leave quickly if,
I'm all set. I told Daddy to go first.
The chair will be screening from 7:30. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I guess kind of an overview of the department. We have a lot going on. On some of the bigger items that we have happening currently. Students, we have 3 active students that we're down to at this point. One of our continued problems are we only have 2 of them that are trained to drive at least the ambulance only and the pickup truck. We're still lacking the training component for the bigger trucks where we have a significant need still for. 1 has obtained an EMS license, the other 2 still do not have that. So that's another shortage that we have. Captain Turgeon, working with the Live-In program, went to a meeting the other day, or a couple weeks ago. We've received notice that the Live-In program host departments will be received a grant from the Assistance to Firefighters grant in the amount of $65,380, which will be applied to the training for next year. So the students that we actually put through the program will be reimbursed for costs that are associated with that. That is the grant similar to what I had proposed last year that we put in for locally, but we did not do that. We've provided over 40 hours of in-house training alone for the Live-In students. We continue to struggle with getting them up to speed as they came in fairly green to us, that we worked to get them to a baseline to work on our equipment and what we have to deploy. As you all know, we've been working on the budget for next year. We continuously struggle with the turnout of the average number of people we have per call and the availability of resources that we have. Another fact that we've been notified in writing this past week, shuttle bus, our fleet maintenance mechanics that we've been utilizing where we outsource a lot of our repairs is no longer going to be servicing fire apparatus. It's been a quasi-municipal organization located in Biddeford down by the ice skating rink, and they will be discontinuing immediately. Any pending work orders that we have set up with them, they will complete, but they're changing the mission and focus to solely service the buses for the shuttle bus program for Biddeford and Saco and Old Orchard Beach. Our options are a couple other commercial truck mechanics in the area, Race Truck Service in Hartford, 2 of the ones that have been referred to us. From what we're hearing is comparable rates. We've used Brian Hartford at Hartford's Truck Repair in Sanford before, mostly for recovery, but some of the other departments around use them for maintenance and preventative maintenance as well. So we'll explore those options. Not sure really it will have significant impact at this point or not. Our average response for calls for personnel for non-EMS is about approximately 4 people per call. This past month, we had, if I have the right document, 5 fire-related events, 2 of which were building fires, 1 chimney fire, and believe it or not, 1 type of brush fire that we had in South Waterboro, off from West Road. We've had 52 emergency medical service incidents, 4 general service calls, including unauthorized burning, 4 good intent calls, could include dispatch and cancel the game, odors of smoke, or nothing found on arrival. There was only 1 of those. 2 false alarms this past month for a total of 67 incidents that we responded to. And an estimated dollar loss that we associated with one of the building fires was $13,000. And I sent out this past week, and I don't know if you have any questions about it. Sorry we were unable to make the meeting last week. Last week was rather busy. I don't know if you have any questions from the document that was sent out regarding the department budget as we stand currently. Both Deputy Chief Bennett and myself have been watching a lot of the lines, specifically our per diem line, which has been greatly impacted because of the the students that are not fully qualified to operate all the equipment as we hoped to and anticipated because of capabilities. So we're monitoring that carefully. Any questions?
I'd like to know what your opinion is on the viability of the continued use of the student program that we have. Is that cost effective?
In my opinion, the student living program is a benefit. However, I believe that we need to evaluate whether the frontline capacity in which we've been trying to utilize them. For several years now, we depend on them as being the front out the door on the ground running, which in reality, when they come through the door, they're green, they don't have experience, and they're not fully qualified and trained. For baseline to get an EMT license, 150 hours, that's not one of the first required courses through the fire science program or the paramedic program. Paramedic, they're going to have it, but usually when they're entering the college, they're entering it in the fire science live-in program. That's where we're capturing the students from. They usually try to obtain that, but we get them usually right out of high school. They don't have any training. If they have Fire 1 and 2, this year one of our students was under 18. We couldn't do anything with him until he turned 18. He couldn't operate apparatus. We have another individual that has struggled with operating equipment at nighttime, in nighttime conditions. So we've been battling that issue for 4 months, well, since the beginning of the first semester. We've entered the second semester, and we continue to work with them. Another problem that we have is essentially because we operate 24 hours a day, the nighttime is having mentors with them and someone that's going to guide them on a constant basis. Because we cover so many hours in the day that they're potentially there, who's with them, and if the first crew goes out on the ambulance, who's left behind to mentor them, they're usually running on their own. So it's a challenge. And first year students, we only have 3 of them. We have the capability to have 4 at Central, and we've had 2 down to South. We've had problems with that. I think that the town administrator is aware of multiple issues we've had, and I know that both Deputy Chief Bennett and myself have experienced numerous personnel issues with prior students as well. So it has been a challenge. It has its benefits in certain areas as laborers and extra people in a place that they could learn if there was people that they could run with on a regular basis, but we don't always have that benefit.
How do you characterize these problems? Are they training issues or discipline issues?
I would say in the past we've had a range of issues, from personnel issues that resulted in discipline, probably inappropriate decisions, probably inappropriate actions that they've conducted themselves at the station. No current student has been involved in this, but prior students, we had substance abuse issues, we've had other issues that we've identified and we've mitigated from removal of the program. But it's constant scrutiny on those individuals and to stay up with them. Right now, Captain Turgeon is designated as their advisor along with Deputy Chief Bennett. And then we have call captains that are responsible as well, but depending on what the availability is, one thing that we've noticed over the past several months is, well, when I say several months, we're really feeling it now, but one of our other captains has obtained another job, a fairly decent paying part-time job at the hospital, and so he's working a couple evenings a week. We have another captain that's working, he works full-time for another city department on the coast, and so when he comes back for us, he has limited time, he puts a lot of time in, but utilizing him is a challenge. So we have some struggles with that because a lot of the people are finding other jobs in some of the other departments around that are paying more.
So begs the question on the students, why would you even entertain someone that wasn't 18 years old?
Because of the qualifications for the program. They were turning 18. He's 18 now. It was a month and a half. It was within a month and a half. And we go through the selection process. And he actually had an EMT license, if I remember correctly. That was actually why we selected him. We go through a draft process, and where we fall in the draft depends on who we get to pick. And I think there's 14 departments, 13 departments that we get to pick. Then depending on where we fall and who's left, when we pick, we try to pick the best candidate for it. And we have an interview process. It's a panel type interview where you have a couple people interview and there's people watching in another room. And they try to do the best they can with picking the students. We look at resumes, and we did have 2 other students, 1 other student this year. And he left.
Probably more in-depth discussion is needed, which we're scheduled to do on Saturday, so.
I missed that.
Well, just, he said that they will have a more in-depth discussion on Saturday.
It's Saturday morning.
Does any member of the board have any other questions for the chief?
Any other questions regarding the document?
No, other than that, I'd like to publicly, give you and Deputy Chief Bennett kudos for the fact that you actually presented a document that talked about the risk and opportunities, which is why the quarterly reviews are run. And I would expect that maybe that would be shared with the rest of the department heads so that they could look at a document that we expect to be presented at the quarterly reviews. So I appreciate the time and effort you put into it, and it was well done, and it reflects why we're having the quarterly meetings.
Thank you.
So,
I want to echo that sentiment that Dennis mentioned. It was
Just-
very well done.
Back on the students again, a lot of programs in different areas, students aren't available until maybe their second year. And is there a possibility that through the school that you can just get second-year people?
We potentially could. A lot of the times what happens because of the cycle, right now they're receiving applications for students that are coming into the program for, well, I say they're receiving it now, they will start to receive them. And the interview process, I believe, starts in June. June for an August start time training and orientation. Come the second year students, usually the ones that are going into the paramedic program. Once they've completed the fire science, they start the second year, they go into the paramedic program, and by 3 years they complete. But it would be great if we could find them in the first year students, and realistically, we have trained several students in years past, not the current batch currently, obviously, but we've got several of our students that are working for career departments and other places at this point. And we haven't capitalized on any of those individuals, but we've had some really good students as well. One, Lewiston, we've had one working for Milwaukee Fire now, and is a paramedic. So we have good students, but it takes time to train them and to get them up to speed. We have one of our call lieutenants, Lucas Bobian, I think is one of his perfect statements is he's been on, I think, 16, 17 years, and like he said, it takes many, many years to get some experience. Because we don't, obviously last month, even with the 2 building fires we had, they were small building fires. It was nothing significant. There were wall fires. It was Lucas and I for the first minute, followed by Captain Langevin, and then Deputy Chief Bennett showed up, and then we had a few people, but the first 10 minutes of the incident, we didn't have people. So, anyhow, we do have capable students, but we don't always get them, and we don't always have that pick of getting them the second-year students. They're usually placed, they have homes.
When you get a student, and let's say they're a first-year student, and they're gonna be in a 3-year program, do you get them for all 3 years? So
We can.
what investment we're making in the first year is carrying through, as long as they're staying in the program?
Correct. And we try to keep them, and one of our issues, and we've heard, she and I both heard it numerous times, is our distance to the college poses financial issues for the students for travel. A lot of the departments offer some type of compensation package for students to retain for summertime months. Some of the departments have them working shifts and have plans. They have some funds to work with to keep those students that you've trained and you put money into. And then honestly, we have students that we don't want to come back the second year, or that don't come back because of money for tuition. We've had some students that have stayed with us for a couple of years, but it varies.
Pros, cons.
There is, and you need to outweigh those. And the problem is that sometimes it takes so long to get to that point. When you get to that point where they're good, or they're trained to a baseline, they're graduating, moving on. And we've had some students that have had made a tough decision. What do I do? I'm graduating. Where do I go? And now they're stuck. We had a student that we thought was going to stay was this past year, and some of them actually come back and work per diem for us. We have a gentleman that travels from Lewiston down here, and he works a couple shifts a month for us when he can. So we try to keep him because he's trained already. 2 shifts a month doesn't really give us a lot of benefit.
How much money do they save by participating in this program? Because I would imagine they don't have the dorm fees and stuff associated.
They don't have dorm fees or housing costs.
Yeah.
So
So that should more than offset any travel expense that they have from here to,
I don't think that the students look at it in that perspective, and I don't think that they budget accordingly that way.
okay.
Well, I mean,
What take-
this is, you know, it's a roll of the dice, right? I mean, if you're gonna be in the program, you're gonna take the good, the bad, and the ugly with it, right? I mean, and you gotta hope that, and if it doesn't weigh out, that there's a benefit that outweighs the other pieces of it, then we shouldn't be in it.
Right. And I think that when we look at it, you know, with close to 8,000 people in town, and the number of calls that we have, the trucks are out the door a lot, the calls that we have, the transport times, we hardly have a simple BLS call anymore. We seem to get very interesting calls, to say the least. And, you know, from here to Maine Meadow to Goodall, it's a long travel time. We need people that have experience in the back that are treating patients and putting a... We don't do it with a call force either. If we have a brand new call force person, we don't launch them into the back of the ambulance on day 1. It's not... We don't launch John into the back of the ambulance on 60 days, never mind day 1. So, you know...
Or maybe ever.
Shh, don't tell him that. No, but I think John, you know, has certainly identified that there's a lot to what's going on in the back of the ambulance at every license level, even at the basic level. So, hopefully that answers your question on the students. There's a lot that goes on with the students. I know she and I have had numerous discussions, and I think we're beating our heads against the wall, bleeding profusely at this point, but we're stuck. We don't have many other options. We're stuck because we have the call force that wants more. We can't give them more. We have students that need more, but we don't have the resources to give them more. And then we have per diem that need more. We have 4 different facets to the organization: live-in students, call force, full-time, and per diem. It takes a lot of energy for each different part of the organization. And are they working? Yes. Do they need help? Yes, they do. And, you know, I think that it's, yeah.
I think we can explore that more in depth.
What's that?
I think we can explore that more in
Yeah,
depth on
absolutely.
Saturday morning during the workshop.
Any other questions?
Seeing none, thank you very much, Chief.
Thank you.
Appreciate your time
Do
and
you have an
support.
EMA report?
And again, it was a good budget
Did
update.
that mean you can actually call?
Yeah.
Did you get electronically?
Is he doing the EMA report? Is he doing EMA?
That's a great format, I think, for all department heads to report out on that budget. It's an excellent format.
Hold on a second. This will be rather quick for you. I'm impeding on his territory. EMA report, I see he's next to the list. I forgot to mention that.
Okay, well, I didn't know if you were going to be doing that or if Deputy Chief was going to be
Well, actually,
doing that.
I'll be more than happy to turn that over to her. I said, you're speaking on this. No.
Well, certainly welcome to have you.
We don't have a lot to report. We've been working at Central. I don't know if you've been if you've stopped in. I think John saw it today. We've got a window in now. The dispatch room had some really old furniture in it, and we've tried to convert it a little bit. So a couple new overhead cabinets and the counter to wrap around that we can utilize as an EOC, or Emergency Operations Center. They will have a lot of the reference material centrally located so that we have one place to go to, a couple workstations, and an additional spot that someone can set up a laptop if they want to. The window is going to go in will be so that we can actually close the door. Well, like when you were in there, the door will be closed and people won't come in. There's a little pigeonhole, is our vision, to have a piece of acrylite or a piece of glass that has a little half round and maybe a little speaker hole so you can actually hand stuff to people in there without coming in there and disturbing what's going on. We put the hole, it was actually, yesterday, we put the hole in the wall, and we picked up the lumber today from the Lowe's, and we've done all the work ourselves at this point, so I think we'll probably end up having to have help with the glass, but
What if you just did a slider instead of a pigeonhole?
we don't have enough room. That's our dilemma. The window, rather than the studs, we noticed when we were just cutting the sheetrock, the entire wall was moving. So rather than getting further into more work, we decided to just go stud to stud. So we've got about 30 inches, 32-inch opening is what we have. The walls, we thought were 16 on center, but we have some studs in the way. They weren't exactly that. So we'll make do with what we've got. And we've got some boards in, and so that'll be our new room. I did send a message to the town administrator yesterday. I think we need to sit down at some point in the very near future and talk more about EMA and look at we had brainstorming, or at least my brainstorm is some type of an assistant position that we can advertise internally to see if we can find someone to step up to volunteer, specifically to help out with the meetings at York County EMA. They can go to those. They have those on a regular basis. So that's where we're at.
You got to say that we're pretty fortunate when you're doing things around the fire station, such as that room, cutting out the hole and putting in the window and putting in the, and also working on the trucks, welding. We got people who are pretty handy that can do carpentry work at a fairly high level and do truck maintenance, and it's a pretty valuable resource to the department. Just not so these people aren't sitting around waiting for a call. You know, they're working and doing things, and it's multi-faceted, very capable people.
Chief, I didn't mean to slight you. I misread that, and I was having a brain cramp. I was thinking that was emergency medical
Well,
rather than emergency management.
that would be a great opportunity for her to speak about some EMS stuff if you'd like. She'd probably love that.
It's all HIPAA, right?
That's what she told me earlier too.
Well, thank you very much, Chief. We appreciate that. And thank you for the moral support that you gave the chief. And now we move on to